Good to be back with you, Brian.
Glad to be here with you, Mark.
So this is one of my favorite questions because I've gotten so many amazing answers over the years. I find influencers come in all sizes, all languages, all personalities, all everything. And so if you could share with us, who's been one or a few major influencers in your life?
Well, I would have to say one, if it doesn't sound too hokey, but really God has been a big influence in my life. And it started, and I say that in a much more personal way than, it's not so trivial. When I was 4 years old, I saw the face of God literally come out of the clouds as I was looking out my bedroom window and say, "Brian, be a missionary." And that has forever changed my life, as you can imagine, in ways that are very mysterious. So that, that kind of encounter, various people have mysterious encounters, spiritual encounters. We were just talking about a book you were reading, all these different kinds of encounters. And that's one. And so, that has directed my life to what I'm doing today. Sort of in that mystery, sort of from a Catholic perspective in the Mass, every week we have a section called the Mystery of Faith. And in that mystery, it's the life, death, resurrection of Christ is sort of the mystery being referred to. But it makes it that to understand that God, there's much more than we could ever explain or know. So then how I work with others is completely colored by the idea that that there's so much more to know, and it gives a different sense of my own faith, a humble approach to faith. I mean, that's sort of like the big influence in my life. But
that's a big one.
It's a big one. But then other people that sort of as you chart your course, then other people that exemplify this humility are some of the influences that have been big. And so I could name some others. One of them is a guy named William McElwee Miller, and he was an old guy that we met in Germantown, Philadelphia. My wife and I, after we graduated from college, many decades ago now. And we were going to a Presbyterian church that was in the neighborhood. And this old guy, he was crumpled over. He couldn't stand up. But he had the biggest, brightest spirit. And he invited us for tea. And he shook as he brought the tea at his house. And here he was a really famous scholar on the Baha'i religion. He was a missionary to Iran back in before World War II days. He was wrote a lot of scholarly books, and he had lived a life of adventure. And now he was just a humble man living in a humble apartment, just befriending a young couple that came by. I think that those are the kind of influences. It's when somebody who's, at that time we hadn't really done anything in life, so to speak, and here's somebody who had done so much. And even to this day, we have some gifts that he gave us hanging on our walls from some of his journeys back in World War II. You couldn't get to Iran or Persia by going through Europe, so he sailed around the other way, and he was in China, and so he got this beautiful set of Chinese sort of coasters that we have on our wall that says Ju Ping no, I forgot it, Ju Ping An. It's God gives perfect peace. And so anyhow, those humble people that we meet really tend to have a huge impact, at least on my life.
Yes, thanks so much for sharing that. It's that's what I kind of meant by all shapes, sizes, and where they come from. It's not by accident, and it's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.